It's story time. It's time for a Weasley Predicament, parts 1 and 2. Welcome, magical people, to Zealman's Wizarding World. My light is not light enough. Hold on. I think that's better. Right. Welcome to Zealman's Wizarding World, magical people. Okay, we're going to go through the storyline for a Weasley Predicament. But this time, we're going to start doing them as a whole. Because, well, really, they are a whole, and if you're going to be spoiled, well, you might as well spoil the whole thing, right? So, we've got parts 1 and parts 2, the entire storyline. Well, needless to say, before we get started, the Ministry are completely incapable of doing anything properly. And, yes. So, anyway, Ron has been kidnapped. What's going to happen? Intro, Harry. I've just heard back from the president of Makusa. They put out a nationwide alert asking for information on Ron and the Unforgivable. They've also agreed to lend us some auras to help with our search. So, here's the question. Are the Unforgivable prevalent in America? Because if it's just the English UK cabal, then I'm not quite sure what Makusa can do to help, apart from a bunch of auras. But anywho, also a nationwide alert for Makusa would be an alert in the United States. So, either the Unforgivable are nationwide or international, or it's weird. Hermione! That's fantastic news. Thanks again for volunteering to get other ministries on board. It's comforting knowing that we have all these eyes and wands looking for Ron. I don't know what Ron would be doing in America, but there you go. Harry, don't thank me. Ron wouldn't be missing if I had just listened to you and taken Unforgivable's threats more seriously. Instead, I had to keep pushing them. Hermione, it isn't your fault Ron was taken, Harry. You were just trying to keep the Unforgivable from manipulating the Calamity and abusing its power. The only one who deserves blame for this is the Unforgivable themselves, which is entirely correct. Constance, here we go. Sorry to interrupt, but we've detected a new surge starting up. One made entirely of people and products from Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. Could this be the work of the Unforgivable? So on to our image placement. Brilliant proprietor George Weasley. Harry, George reached out to me. He's been able to recall a memory he knows he never had ever since that last Vanderbilt was returned to him. In it, a wizard in a robe indicates that the Ministry and the Unforgivable both have something the other wants. He concludes by saying that he'll be in touch with further details on how we can get that something. Hermione, sounds like the Unforgivable are proposing a trade, doesn't it? Ron for complete control of the Calamity. Harry, I wish I could say I'd never entertain this, but with all our attempts to rescue Ron turning up nothing so far, it would be daft not to at least consider it. The puking pastel display. Hermione, the fact that this surge is centered on Weasley's Wheezes, the very place where Ron was adopted from, can't be a coincidence. Constance, it does seem like the Unforgivable are sending us a message, doesn't it? Hermione, this surge is more than a message, it's a taunt. A reminder that they were able to get the better of us. The Unforgivable don't want us to forget that Ron's fate is in their hands. It's funny, the Unforgivable did all this to intimidate us into stopping our investigation, but I'm more motivated to bring them to justice than ever. Constance, that's the spirit, Hermione. We'll get Ron back, I'm sure of it. Peruvian instant darkness powder display. Hermione, since this surge began, I found myself over-analysing every fanable, wondering if it's some sort of subtle sign from the Unforgivable. Take this Peruvian instant darkness powder display, for example. Did the Unforgivable include it simply because it's a fixture at Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, or are they trying to make a statement that their darkness is spreading? Is the love potion stand merely that, or is it a hint that the Unforgivable have Ron spelled and under their control? Perhaps I would take Constance up on her offer of a cup of chamomile tea after all, which is supposed to be very calming. The love potion stand. Harry, I stopped by the joke shop again. George has been asking his regulars about Ron. Apparently, one recalled seeing him with you right before he went missing. Hermione, that's impossible. I was at the Ministry at the time. Ron's abductor must have used Polyjuice Potion to impersonate me, just like Ginny's attempted abductor took the appearance of her editor-in-chief. Harry, that explains how they were able to catch a former aura off guard. But Polyjuice Potion requires a piece of the person you want to transfigure in order to work. Wouldn't that mean, Hermione, That it is likely I crossed paths with a member of the Unforgivable and didn't even know it? Yes! It's gotta be kinda creepy. Anyway, Arthur Weasley. Harry. Arthur reached out to me. The Unforgivable must have implanted a false memory in his Vanderbilt because he has a distinct recollection of Ron warning that the Unforgivable can't guarantee his safety if he do not do exactly as they say. Hermione. How despicable. Delivering their ultimatum like that. Harry. Arthur and Molly are both devastated. Jeannie's trying to assure them, but she's anxious too. Hermione. I know I've said I shouldn't give in to the Unforgivable's demands, but I'm having second thoughts. Ron. Hermione. Ron wouldn't want us to abandon our principles, especially not for his sake. I don't know if the message Arthur received is a result of Polyjuice or the Imperius Curse, but there are two things I am certain of. First, that Ron did not deliver the message of his own free will, and second, that the Unforgivable will continue to prey on our emotions until they get what they want. The end dialogue. Harry. I'm not sure who I'm more upset with, the Unforgivable for using Ron to manipulate us, or myself for considering giving in to their demands. Hermione, you're just desperate to get Ron back safely. I am too. After all, this is the longest we've been apart since we went our separate ways during the Horcrux hunt. That's the problem. The Unforgivable are leveraging our desperation to make the terms they'll break or modify whenever the need arises. Harry, so what can we do? We can't exactly stop caring about Ron now, can we? Hermione, for now, we continue pouring our resources into finding Ron. With any luck, we'll find him before the second wave of the search begins. If we don't, well, we'll think of something. So let's see how this is going to play out. Probably as predicted. So, part 2. So you haven't done part 2, you don't want part 2 spoilers. Now it's time to break and then come back when, well, you're ready. Anyway, intro. Hermione. The search has picked up again. It's still centered around the Weasley's family, but this time it's taking a more personal turn, featuring fixtures of the Burrow. Harry, do you think this search can be made up of Ron's memories? These Vanderbilts feel too intimate to have been created by anyone but someone close to the family. Harry, if the Unforgivable are capable of using my memories to create a surge, I imagine they could do the same with Ron's. Though the thought of the Unforgivable rooting around in Ron's mind makes me ill. It probably makes them ill too. Hermione, I guarantee that making us uncomfortable was their intent. The more concerned we are about Ron's safety, the more likely we are to agree to the trade they hinted they were going to propose. But, Harry, I hate to say it, but it's working. So when you place an image for Fred Weasley, Harry, when Fred died in the Battle of Hogwarts, everyone was devastated. Damn right they were. But none of us more so than Molly. Though she's since returned to her normal, cheery self, you can tell that Fred's death continues to affect her deeply. I can't imagine what she's going through right now. I have to bring Ron home safely, no matter what it takes. The family can't lose another son and brother, which is quite sad. The brilliant Weasley clock. Hermione! Mrs. Weasley had this clock made to keep track of the whereabouts of the whole family, with each hand representing a different Weasley. Apparently Ron's hand has been pointing at mortal peril since he went missing. Despite this, I try to keep positive and confident that we'll get Ron back safe and sound. Rose and Hugo need a pillar of strength right now, and I don't want Harry to blame himself for what happened any more than he already does. I assume this is Hermione talking to us. But underneath the surface, I'm probably more worried than anyone. It terrifies me that Ron's in the hands of dark witches and wizards who wouldn't hesitate to destroy lives to get what they want. Ron's been in mortal peril before, but other than the brief time he left Harry and I during our hunt for Voldemort's remaining Horcruxes, I was right there beside him through it. Now I just feel so helpless. Molly Weasley. Hermione! Molly is the latest to have a false memory implanted in her Vanderbilt. In it, Ron, or someone disguised as Ron, came to her crying. He then begged her to convince us to listen to the Unforgivable so he can come home. Dark stuff. Can you imagine? Constance. Just when you thought the Unforgivable couldn't go any lower, they emotionally manipulated a mum and play on her fear of losing her son to get what they want. Disgusting, isn't it? Hermione. Very Molly Weasley. Oh, very Molly Weasley. Very Molly Weasley is one of the strongest people I've ever met. But this is more than any mother should have to bear. As difficult as Ron's disappearance has been for me, I guarantee it's been twice as hard for her. She had every right to demand we concede control of the Calamity in order to get Ron back. But instead she just had me promise to give the unforgivable hell in her stead. Believe me, I intend to do just that. I can quite easily imagine Molly saying that. Self-knitting jumper. Harry. We have nearly all the Ministry auras, the SOS Taskforce, and agents from other countries out looking for Ron. I've even asked McGonagall to search the Hogwarts portraits, but no sign of him has turned up. It's like he's vanished. Constance. He has to be somewhere. We just have to be persistent and leave no cauldron unturned. Harry. But we're running out of time. The Unforgivable's offer is going to come any day now, and we'll have to make a decision about whether to accept it or not. Constance. What do you think I should do? Constance. I'm probably not the best person to ask. After all, I can't even decide what to eat for lunch. You're also a member of the Unforgivable. Just saying. Sus. Gnome. Constance. I've always pitied gnomes. Imagine you're a gnome minding your own business in your burrow, just trying to be the best gnome you can be, when suddenly a wizard grabs you by the legs, spins you around until you're dizzy, and tosses you away. Or worse still, sets a Jarvie on you. That's actually in the books when they're preparing for the wedding of Fleur and Bill. Got there in the end. That they were cleaning up the burrow by throwing the gnomes over the fence. You had to get them dizzy so they couldn't find their way back. Whenever I bring the topic up, people will tell me anecdotes about how they destroyed their gardens. And yet, I get it. I really do. But I know what it's like to be treated like a pest. It's hard not to sympathise with their plight. Constance, you've been treated like a pest, have you? A motive if ever I saw one. Mysterious note. First piece. Constance. Look, Hermione, a fragment of a note. The Unforgivable kept their word to get in touch again. Hermione. Now we'll see if they intend to keep their word about returning Ron safely. The fifth piece. Hermione. We've recovered enough pieces of the note now to confirm that the Unforgivable are in fact proposing a trade. Ron in exchange for not only complete concession of the Calamity, but also the return of Kit, Gerard, and the informant. Harry, that's ridiculous. It was bad enough when they were demanding control of the Calamity, but now they're asking us to trade lives too? Kit's finally been reunited with his family, and we only just identified Flavius Flint as the informant. Hello, that's a new name. There's no way we can go along with this, or so I'd like to say, but realistically, what choice do we have? The Unforgivable have reason to keep Ron unharmed for now, while he's still valuable to them, but there's no telling what they might do to him if we reject this offer. Hermione, and there's no telling what the Unforgivable might do to Kit and Flavius if we hand the two over to them. I know you feel responsible for all this, Harry, but bargaining with their lives simply isn't an option. I have a better idea. It's potentially dangerous, but if successful, we should be able to get Ron back, keep Kit and Flavius safe, and possibly even uncover where the Unforgivable have been hiding. Why would the Unforgivable want them back? Because their memories have been wiped. Now, if their memories have been wiped, and they want them back, it means they somehow escaped, but had their memories wiped. So they couldn't have been let go by the Unforgivable, or they could have been let go and had their memories wiped by the Unforgivable because they want them back. But they also couldn't have escaped to their own fruition because they had their memories wiped. So, who released them, who isn't the Unforgivable, and wiped their memories? And the only person I can think of is Grim Foley. Let me know in the comments below what you think of that. The final note piece. Hermione, now that we've fully constructed the Unforgivable's note and know the location and date of the exchange, we can start putting my plan into motion. Did you place your auras on standby just like I asked? Harry, they're ready and are waiting further orders, though many are wondering what exactly you have planned, myself included. Hermione, it's best that we keep this operation on a strictly need-to-know basis. If word somehow reached the Unforgivable that Constance and I are planning to use the Apologies potions that I precautiously made last month to transfigure ourselves into Kit, Gerard, and Flavius Flint. Harry, hold on. Your plan is to take Kit and Flavius's places and exchange and infiltrate the Unforgivables. It's risky, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't brilliant. Except I'll be going in Constance's stead. It's safer that way. Hermione, Harry, if you don't show up to the exchange, the Unforgivable might get suspicious. Not to mention that someone needs to be there to secure Ron and deploy the auras if needed. No, Constance and I will go. We can handle ourselves and we'll have a tracking spell on us in case anything happens. Now, what's the chances of this actually going to plan? Have the Ministry ever done anything right? Yet. No. The end dialogue. Hermione, I've just got back for St. Mungo's. Okay. There's nothing physically wrong with Ron. There's nothing physically wrong with Ron, but he still hasn't woken up. Constance is recovering. I hear her say she's lucky some light burns were all she had after taking the full brunt of that confringo. Now, confringo is an exploding jar. So, if you take a full blunt of a confringo, there will not be much left of you. So how can you possibly get light burns? Suspicious. Constant sus. Definitely sus. Harry, bloody hell, the unforgivable were one step ahead of us the whole time. They saw right through your transfigurations. Knew just where our that's not transfiguration if you use polymerization. Transfiguration is different. Anyway. They saw right through your transfigurations. Knew just where our defences were the weakest, and now I've received word that the real Kit Gerard and Flavius Flint went missing from the safe house while we were making the exchange. Hermione, you're right. Even getting Ron back seems like something they allowed to happen. Either they have legitimates in their cabal, or someone leaked our plans. Well, they have been saying for ages that there are people in the ministry from the Unforgivable, So someone must have leaked their plans. Question is, who knew the plans? Harry, you think there might be a spy for the Unforgivable within the ministry? Oh, God. Wake up, Harry. Wake up, Harry. But who could it be? But who could it? Constance, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you still be in the hospital? Constance, never mind me. You need to go see Ron. He's woken up, but his memories, they've been completely obliterated. Again. And that's it. So, that all went a bit Pete-Tong, didn't it? They got Ron back. He was obliterated. But also, they lost the two people that somehow they got hold of in the first place. So well done, Ministry. It's another cock-up. Harry and Hermione, you screwed it up again. When will you... Okay. One piece of very important information which we do not have in this dialogue is who knew the plan. Because from what I know, from what we know so far, the only people who knew the plan was Harry, Hermione, and Constance. And who do we know who are not part of the cabal? So it leaves Constance. So, doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that Constance is extremely sus. Okay, calm down. I don't normally get riled up at these things, but... Right, so let me know in the comments what you think below of this one. So yes, I'm going to try and do the stories in one lump next time. I do actually get them in one lump, but I don't normally... I usually split them up just for timing, but given how crammed things are right now, and I want to do vlogs, this is it. So yes, holding off on the deep dive stuff because, well, it's just too stressful because I don't get it early enough, and everyone else does the news and tips and everything as well. So I'm just going to hold back on that and do some more fluffy stuff. So we're going to go through the story spoilers and any new features like the 1920s family and stuff like that. So we're doing spoilers and the vlogs for now. Right, let me know in the comments what you think below. How incompetent are Harry and Hermione? Until next time, watch it for your spells. Get your wands ready for the night.